तारी पलपन विसरे नहीं जो विसारी जुगल चरण सोल चिन्ह जेह नजर समीपे रहो हमारी एह नजर समीपे रहो हमारी एह घनश्याम महाराज ની જય, હરિકૃષ્ણ મહારાજ ની જય, સ્વામિનારાયણ ભગવાન ની જય. Supreme Almighty, our beloved Ghanshyam Maharaj, the path maker to our liberation, our utmost dear Puja Guruji, Puja Santo, and all of you devotees, Jai Swaminarayan. Currently in the world, there's much rage, anger, hatred occurring. And for all that kind of negativity, according to spirituality and according to, we can say, philosophy, there is only one medicine that's needed, and that's Samp. Samp, if translated in English, is unity. And today we'd like to take a look upon a presentation regarding Samp, or we can say unity. As you can see here, for the first slide, Samp and unity is something that is all a part of our life. May we know it, may we not know it. Nonetheless, Samp and unity is something that is completely something that one needs in order to become successful in this life and life after. Why do I say the life after? Because Bhagwan Swaminarayan promotes this very virtue that makes it authentic, that it's needed here in this society where we live, who we live with, wherever we go. Nonetheless, beyond this life, in Akshardham as well, unity with God. So today we would like to first conversate about how the world has unity with some examples, and then there is also some videos in this presentation, and from there what Bhagwan Swaminarayan's message is, and how Bhagwan Swaminarayan and his Ekantik Satpurush operate at a level to maintain Samp in society for each and every individual who is in their, you can say, vicinity. So without further ado, the second slide is regarding the world and unity. If you think about it, there is many more positive examples of unity in this world compared to the hatred or separation. How so? Well, currently in the United States alone, there's many organizations right now trying to work together, pharmaceutical companies working together to trying to find a proper formulated vaccine for the COVID-19 or coronavirus. That's a sign of unity. Nonetheless, if we look on a larger scale, countries working together to reach new heights, suppose going to space, finding new medicine, finding new technology to help make the world a better place, to help lessen the damage of the environment and the atmosphere by developing such kind of cars, by developing such kind of factories, and so on and so forth. But many different organizations are working together in the world to try to find something together to make the world a better place. So from there, we can understand that there is unity in the world. But this presentation is not only about looking at unity in the world, but it is looking at Bhagwan Swaminarayan's perspective on unity and how he wants it and how he likes it. Because if we only base it off of just the unity in the world, there's many examples, but that will not take one to Akshardham, or that will not help one attain moksha or liberation, ultimate liberation. But Bhagwan Swaminarayan's principles, Bhagwan Swaminarayan's perspective will definitely help one attain moksha and ultimate liberation if we follow his formula and go step by step. So with my first example, I would like to show you, here on the screen you'll be able to see a single piece of rope. A very single piece of rope here. You can see if you were to give 10 people a 20 feet long single piece of rope like this and tell them to split themselves in half, 5 and 5, and play tug of war, how long would tug of war last? If you were to tell someone to rock climb up a mountain and use this rope as leverage for an average human weighing approximately 165 pounds, how safe would that rock climber feel regarding using this rope as safety? If you ask someone to walk across point A to point B, you've seen those stuntmen where they walk across canyons, walking across two parallel buildings on a single piece of on a single rope. If you ask them to walk upon this kind of a thin rope, how confident and how willing would they be to do it? Exactly. Because this rope is very weak, this rope is single, this rope is thin, this rope does not have the capability to withhold much weight compared to the slide after, where you'll be able to see a thick piece of rope. Now with this, may it be a rock climber, may it be a person walking from point A to point B, or may it be a bunch of kids playing tug of war. It doesn't matter, but they would all feel comfortable with this rope. Why? Because that single strand that we saw before came from this very rope, but it was single. Compared to this rope, which has, you can say, hundreds and hundreds of strands like that, due to the twisting and turning and due to the bond of the ropes to make it one, the strength is increased by 100, or we can even say 1,000. That's why, even in such a simple example, from a piece of rope, unity can be explained. Moving on to the next slide. A single drop of water. A single drop of water will not quench your thirst if you're in a desert and you're lost, or if you're not lost. A single drop of water is not enough to help a human bathe the body. A single drop of water has no force in a river, or you can say in a falls. But compared to, next slide, the falls, this is Niagara Falls. Niagara Falls is one of the 7 wonders of the world, which is located between Canada and the United States. A couple of years ago, Santos went to visit Haribhaktos in Canada, and while going there, just visited the Niagara Falls. There was a guide there, and he was just sharing facts about the Niagara Falls. I don't I don't exactly recall, but he was saying that per second, approximately, like per second, just in like one section of the falls, approximately 1,500 gallons of water is falling at over 100-mile-per-hour speed. Now, if we think about it, the fall is consisted of one drop of water. Nonetheless, the falls consist of billions of drops of water or trillions of drops of water, but they're all in one direction, in one flow, making their unity force very, very strong. The Niagara Falls is a wonder of the world. Why? Because of the unity of the water going in one direction, one flow. From that, we can take an example in our life that if we are one compared to a couple or 5, 10, 15, 20, or hundreds or thousands, what would be the outcome of whatever work we're doing? So that's why from a drop of water to the Niagara Falls, we can get and take an example of how Bhagwan has created and sustained unity on this earth. Moving on to the next example. And finally, Sadguru Gunatitanand Swami gives an example in his Vato, Swamini Vato, regarding bows and arrows, and regarding how unity is very important. Swami first talks about a single bow, or an arrow, a single arrow, as we can see here. A single arrow can be broken in no time. There is no doubt about this, and it can be broken with just a knee. But compared to a bunch of arrows tied together, next slide please, a bunch of arrows tied together, the effect of trying to even break it, even with one's knee, no matter how strong you are, is very, very tough to impossible because of the unity of the bows tied together. We can use this example even for a pencil. A single pencil compared to tying 15, 20 pencils together and trying to break it. And even more than that, even seeing in school one time, in high school, there was this one man, a strong man, who came, and everyone was had to report to the gymnasium and sit on the bleachers, and he was in the lower court side, showing his different various strong feats. And one feat he showed an example was he called one of the kids up and he tore a piece of paper from the Yellow Pages. The Yellow Pages is a very, very thick book consisting of about, 1,000 pages or more. And he told the kid to rip it. So he ripped it in like a few seconds and just gave it back to him. And then the strong man gave the yellow book to the kid to rip. And he tried and tried with all his might. He became red like a tomato, but he was not able to rip the Yellow Pages. Then after, the man himself said that, let me try. And in just maybe, I want to say 5 to 10 seconds, he shredded the yellow books in half because he had that kind of strength. But the example is not of him tearing the Yellow Pages apart with his bare hands. The example is the single piece of paper compared to the thick book, the Yellow Pages, and how strong it is when it's together, which is about 1,000 pages or plus. Now we would like to take a video, and we would like to take a look at a video regarding how unity is, you can say, equated in a form of animation. And maybe you've seen this video, maybe you have not, but this video will show us how unity is used even in, you can say, cartoons and movies like that.
We'll go out and find out what my little four-headed poopers do.
Skipper, look. Analysis. It looks like a small incandescent bulb, designed to indicate something out of the ordinary, like a malfunction.
I find it pretty and somewhat hypnotic.
That too, sir.
Right. Rico. Manual.
Problemo solved.
Sir, we may be out of fuel.
What makes you think that?
We've lost engine 1. And engine 2 is no longer on fire.
Buckle up, boys.
Don't look dull. This might get hairy. Attention! This is your captain speaking. I've got good news and bad news. The good news is we'll be landing immediately. The bad news is we're crash landing. When it comes to air travel, we know you have no choice whatsoever. But thanks again for choosing Air Penguin.
Raise your arms, Maurice. It's more fun when you raise your arms like these. I can fly.
This could be it, Marty. I just want you to know you were truly a one-in-a-million friend.
Thanks, buddy. You're the best ever.
I know you won't mind what I tell you.
Come on, tell me anything. Tell me what.
I broke your iPod.
What?
The buttons were so small. It made me mad.
The horror.
I'm sorry.
I'm gonna kill you.
It was an accident. It was an accident. I'm sorry. Did you do it?
I love you, Gloria. I always have. Like you love the beach, or a good book, or the beach.
My goodness, doll, you're shaking like a leaf. Rico, you've had your fun. Pull up. Gear down. Gently now, you just want to kiss the ground. Just a little peck, a smooch like you're kissing your sister. I said kiss it. Now just a little break. Just a touch. A little whisper. I believe that's checkmate. Commence emergency landing procedure. Flaps up. Deploy.
Oh, we're here. What in the world? What happened to the plane?
Okay.
What did y'all do to the plane?
I don't know. Okay. I'm alive.
See, I can't even sleep for a minute. And you know what? This is not JFK.
Wolski,
I don't think.
casualty report.
Only 2 passengers unaccounted for, Skipper.
That's a number I can live with. Good landing, boys. Who says a penguin can't fly?
You see, I can't.
As you all saw, 4 penguins completely saved the plane by working together, by one commander commanding the pilot to steer the plane, one of them to pull the levers, the other one to do a push a button, and together they saved, however frightened the animals became. That's not the main thing, but they saved the lives of the animals, and that's a sign of unity that we can see there. Now, even today, here in such kind of a cartoon film, producers create such kind of films to show unity. If the kid watching can grasp the message of the whole concept. But definitely, the reason why this video was shown, so that all of you can understand that unity is everywhere, but what kind of unity do we have to focus on, and how can we focus on it? That's the very, very main concept. So moving on to the next slide. As you can see here, this is a very, very historic photo of a war scene, and how soldiers, you've probably learned this in history, and how soldiers put up the flag of the United States. But this became such a historic picture because there was not only one man involved, but you can say 4 men were involved in putting the flag of the United States up. And even till this day, this very quote still thrives everywhere. United we stand, divided we fall. Such kind of events in, may it be American history or in world history, occur. And from there, kids are taught in school, in their academics, in history class, regarding such kind of unity. But implementing it is a very, very different scale, and just learning about it through pictures and history is a different scale. But today we would like to do both. We would like to learn about unity through such kinds of events, such kind of videos, and there also we would like to implement it into our life somehow, some way. So before this presentation ends, in some way, some form, to learn to tolerate, to learn to forgive, we'll take a look in the future. We'll learn regarding that, and from there unity will stay within your family life, your social life, your school life, your life in general. So another fun video for those who are watching, an example of unity and how penguins again work together to display unity. Let's take a look at the video. Yeah, it's the second one.
Oh, I like that one. That's a good one.
It works on many levels, sir.
You guys are a bunch of sucker.
That too, sir.
Absolutely.
Hey, stations. Stage 1, go.
Oh no! What have I done?
Come on, take the bait.
What happened?
What's going on?
Look at the poor little guy.
Is it dead?
Stage 2, go, go, go.
I will give him the kiss of life.
Rico. Rico. Reverse. Yes. Music.
No, stop! 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 Come back!
What is all this rock and roll racket?
Is she dead?
No.
Oi! You hoodlums!
Good heavens!
As you saw there, penguins hijacked a car. And I'm sure all of you kids are enjoying this, but there you saw unity amongst them. And from there, if you can say the cartoon film industry can create such kind of movies that can implement unity, then why can we not grasp unity in our life, and why can we not make unity one of the elements or virtues that we display practically in our life? So from there, another video I would like to show you is this video is this takes place in Australia, and it's a train scene, and I want to set up the background. The train scene, there's a train stops and everyone's going in and out, and one of the men, while he's walking, a man pretty much between the train and the platform, there's about approximately, let's say, about 6 inches to like 8 inches of gap, and his foot goes into the gap. Now there's no way that you can get your foot out like that after it goes in. So let's see how all of these people work together to get this man out and how they save his life from the train accident. So there he is, it's going in, and there he is, right there. His foot becomes stuck while he's coming out. Then one of the men calls another person. There's many people called out, and a bunch of people gather, and they know the train has stopped because of this man. So what they decide to do is everyone starts to, push their weight out towards the train that way, so the man can get his leg out. Now, it doesn't occur on the first try, but there is about approximately 100 to 200 people pushing their weight all at once on a train, and you can see right there that unity, and they're pushing with all their might, and there it is, right there. He comes right out, and he is safe, and everyone helps him out. And from there, even in the world, humanity has unity in their life. It's just a matter of thinking about it, and humanity has such kind of compassion. And from that, we can see that there's people that keep walking, but there's approximately 100 to 150 people who stay put and think about the man's situation, and also their late subway ride while they want to go somewhere. So the train is stuck. They stop the train, and the man is completely saved by 150 people pushing their weight towards the train, so that a little more gap is created between the platform and the train, and the man gets his foot out, and he's saved. So that's a sign of unity. Next slide, please. So unity is a combination of individuals to achieve a specified goal. Unity is to work in harmony with one's companions. Now, as you saw from the examples of the videos, this completely matches, and it is pretty much working together with other companions in harmony. In harmony meaning together on a scale which one's mind and body are on one page. If one's mind is saying something different compared to another person's mind, then it's not going to work. But having the same kinds of thoughts regarding one specific, you can say, work or one specific environment is called unity. And in religion, how is it important? Now we would like to look at the spiritual aspect of everything. All the examples through pictures and videos were given, so you can get a basis of how unity is everywhere in the world. But now we would like to take a look in spiritual context, Bhagwan Swaminarayan's views, and what he expects from us. We'll also take an excerpt from the Haricharitra Sagar Granth, written by one of our gurus from our guru lineage or guru parampara, Sadguru Adhanand Swami. And from there, we would like to analyze what Bhagwan has to say about unity. But nonetheless, going back, yes, Shreeji Maharaj once said in Loya, the very reason for Samp unity is the need for others, meaning others is who? Santo and Bhakto. Without the need of others, Samp would not remain. This is one of the, you can say, sentences that Bhagwan Swaminarayan said in Haricharitra Sagar, Pur 24, Tarang 56. So Adhanand Swami noted it down, and it is forever etched in this massive, you can say, epic scripture. But what is Bhagwan saying here? That's what we would like to take a look. The very reason for Samp or unity is the need for others. Needing each other. Now, if we look at it, a need for others is definitely there, but only on certain occasions. Suppose we need to do our personal work. We need someone to help us. Then we would do a need. Then we would be like, I need you, or, oh, can you do this? Yes, that's one kind of direction. But Bhagwan's direction is not only regarding having someone or helping someone, or having someone help you, but Bhagwan's perspective is more on becoming a das. How can you need someone if you become a das or a servant? According to Bhagwan Swaminarayan's Vachnamrut, Bhagwan Swaminarayan states many examples of this kind of dasatva. And Bhagwan Swaminarayan states in Gadada, first chapter 58, during the end of the Vachnamrut, Maharaj says, how can one become such a firm devotee whose bhakti would flourish, whose faults would completely vanish? Bhagwan Swaminarayan says to become the servant and to believe everyone to be superior and oneself to be inferior to everyone else. This is such a formula in one sentence, but it's a sum of numerous scriptures that Bhagwan Swaminarayan just states in his Vachnamrut in just one line. If you read any other scripture, you will not find such kind of a statement. To believe oneself to be believe oneself to be inferior, and to believe everyone else in satsang fellowship. Bhagwan Swaminarayan is talking about those who are in satsang. May they be santo, may they be haribhakto, doesn't matter, but believing them to be all greater than oneself. If one develops such kind of a mentality, then automatically one will have the need for others. It's a straight match. And Bhagwan Swaminarayan states that if one wants to keep unity or samp in a religious environment or anywhere, one needs to keep a need for others. But specifically, Bhagwan is stating for religious environment. Without the need of others, samp would not remain. Bhagwan states it. So you can say, yes, samp can be the ghee or the clarified butter, but ghee is derived from milk, and the milk is daspanu, or we can say to become humble and stay humble in our religious environment, in our home environment, everywhere. And from there, that humility, many virtues come in the form of ghee, and one of them is samp, we can say directly from this example. Moving on to the next slide. Unity is something more. Sometimes we equate unity with simply being or working together, but this isn't it. There is more. In religious terms, this isn't it. Yes, in the world, if you are walking on the sidewalk and you see people walking back and forth, and you call one of the people and you say, hey, give me an example of unity, or what is unity to you? If you ask such a question, everyone, most likely 99.9% of the people would say people working together for a better cause, because that is the only level of perspective the world has seen. But Bhagwan Swaminarayan's perspective is different. Bhagwan Swaminarayan's perspective is divine. Bhagwan Swaminarayan's perspective is beyond the comprehension of the human mind. But due to the compassion of Bhagwan Swaminarayan, he came down to this earth 239 years ago, and he implemented such kind of principles that no one has heard of, and no one will hear of, or no one will be able to implement. Bhagwan Swaminarayan is a God who is practical, yet very, very fair, yet very, very knowing that if in the future what will happen. Maharaj is always thinking about future perspective, and you can see from his scriptures, you can see practically from the Shikshapatri, Bhagwan Swaminarayan wrote 212 verses, and some of the verses, if you read very, very, you can say with a fine eye, are specified for those devotees of the future. And Maharaj's view was always like that. And in the same way, Maharaj's view for unity is also something like this. Moving on. What is more? Let's see. Well, from this, we can see, yes, perceiving divinity and taking another's fault or blame upon oneself. Now, this is on a deeper scale and deeper perspective of satsang. For those who practice satsang at a deeper, you can say, a level, this is something that can fit your perspective. Perceiving divinity and taking another's fault or blame upon oneself. Now, number one, perceiving divinity. How can one perceive others to be divine? That's the number one question. Now, this is all, remember, this is all so sum or unity remains and is maintained. The equal sign is unity or sum as per today's topic. But in order for that to be achieved, there's many, many different formulas that need to be applied in order for that to completely occur. So one of the formulas here is perceiving divinity and taking another's fault or blame upon oneself. Now, what is perceiving divinity? If we perceive someone to be divine, what is the characteristic? How can that be, you can say, how can that be explained? What is it exactly? Well, a couple lectures back, there was an example given regarding how faith is blind, and how there's if someone were to tell you that there is a wall, and behind the wall there's a diamond. Now, from there, obviously, for those who have a lot of intelligence, they're not going to be like those science intelligence. They're not going to completely believe you and be like, yes, there's definitely a diamond there, and I know it, and you told me. And they're more going to be like on the evidence of, show us some proof, how could you say so, what is the reason, things like that. But for those who have faith, those who have blind faith, they would believe whoever said it, a religious figure, right away. In the same way, divinity is perceiving, for example, the Ekantik Satpurush comes on this earth by the commands of God to promote Ekantik Dharma and to take numerous souls to Akshardham, to liberate numerous souls. That is a sole assignment of Bhagwan Swaminarayan that has been given to his agent in the form of the Ekantik Satpurush for us, our Puja Guruji. Now, Puja Guruji there, here right now, is on earth. Now, he has 2 arms, he has 2 legs, he has 2 eyes, 2 ears, and thinking in a very, very, you can say, physical manner, he looks just like a regular human. To believe him to be a human, that's not divinity. But to believe him to be beyond this human body, while he is here, he is in Akshardham, he is a mukt, anadi mukt of Akshardham, and he is here giving darshan to all of us. By having his darshan is equivalent to having the darshan of Bhagwan Swaminarayan, according to the Vachanamrut Gadada 1st chapter 37, according to the Vachanamrut Sarangpur 10th, Bhagwan Swaminarayan has stated that having such the darshan of such a sant is equivalent to having the darshan of Bhagwan himself. Such kind of statement Bhagwan Swaminarayan has said. Now, that's divinity. And Bhagwan wants us to reach such a state. We see two legs, we see two arms, we see two eyes, we see two ears, but we don't see anything beyond that. But Bhagwan Swaminarayan says, perceive the Ekantik Satpurush to be divine, not of this world, beyond this world, of Akshardham, beyond the three states of Rajagun, Tamogun, and Sattvagun, Gunatit. Believing yet not able to see is divinity. And the very first factor of unity is to perceive divinity in the Ekantik Satpurush, in the sadhus of Bhagwan Swaminarayan, in the Hari Bhaktos of Bhagwan Swaminarayan, everyone. That's the number one factor for unity or some to remain in a religious environment. And taking another's fault or blame upon oneself. Now this is more on the practical basis. The first part, perceiving divinity, is more on a logical basis of one understanding through such kind of statements from the Vachnamrut. But on a practical basis, suppose someone, we come to Mandir and there is a couple of people, and one of the people breaks something, and a couple of elders come and starts to blame that person. Now, instead of you watching from a distance, going there and explaining that I was part of this, please also tell me, lowering that pressure off of those other bhaktos, maybe even accepting the blame that it was me, I did it, please tell me. That creates such an environment of unity that is not comparable to anything. Why? Because the person who has actually broken the item, he will think in his mind that this bhagat had nothing to do with it yet. He came here to take the blame. He came here to save me. And due to that, this uncle is now, getting upset at this bhagat instead of myself. I feel very grateful, because the human heart, in the end, if someone does something for them, or if someone helps them, or if someone takes the blame in such a fashion, it's bound to melt. And especially for those Haribhaktos that are actually good-hearted, pure-hearted, would definitely see this. And from there, that bond of friendship, the bond of one another in the religious environment would become very, very strong. Moving on to the next slide, please. Yes, the need for others. Now, from there, Maharaj highlights this point very much, and I would like to end this presentation with just a couple more videos so you can get the perspective, and then from there you'd be able to implement such kind of points in your life. But before we get to the video, I would like to talk about a couple of factors that are also needed in the points of keeping samp, which is forgiving one another, tolerating one another's natures or swabhavs. That is also one way to keep samp and unity in a religious environment. Now, for that, one needs a very, very, you can say, broad perspective and a lot of understanding. But after coming into religion, after coming into Loyadham Parivar, Bhagwan Swaminarayan and our Puja Guruji expects such kind of understanding to be implemented, because without understanding, there is bound for accidents to occur. There's always some way, some problem will occur. But if one has understanding, then no problems would occur. Through an understanding, through Bhagwan Swaminarayan's perspective via the Vachnamrut and Sadguru Vatos in the form of Sadguru Gunatitanand Swami Vato and Sadguru Gopanand Swami Vato, such kind of understanding will only better oneself and will also take one to Akshardham via the samagam of an Ekantik Satpurush. So forgiving others and also forgiving and tolerating others' swabhavs or natures is also two other formulas that are needed in order to keep SUMP in unity. Now let's take a look at a video regarding SUMP and how this man here is lying down, and this is actually yes, you can see there a Coca-Cola bottle, and you can see there's nature in the air there, there's bees and grasshoppers. Now let's see what they all do, how they unite together. Let's see how they pretty much just open this bottle up of beverage, and this is just all animated. But from there, the world also is created, and using such kind of examples, if one can pick up on it, then one can also change one's perspective of how one can keep unity in one's family. There you go. That's an example from a beverage company and how they displayed and implemented unity. And finally, for all of you kids who like videos a lot, one more last video on the penguins and different species and animals and how they use unity. From this, if you remember one of the videos, then you can remember Bhagwan Swaminarayan's principle regarding what he has to say regarding this point, and implement it in your life. So final video, and then this will be the end of this presentation. As you can see here, penguins and a shark is coming up on the ice. The penguins are on an iceberg, and the shark is about to attack. And here it comes. And the penguins decide that if they shift to the side, the iceberg would rise up. And due to that, the whale shark slams into the side of the iceberg. Nonetheless, ants. Ants carrying a lot of goods, as you can see here, and one of the instructions. Anteater comes and is trying to suck up all the ants in its nose. And from there, they make a ball. And there it is. Such kind of SUMP is used, and then either faints due to the blockage. And finally, crabs. Crabs are also blocking here, and you can see the sleeve is going down to grab one of the crabs. The crabs decide to form its claws and shred the seagull. And there you go. That's why one should travel in groups, according to this video. But this marks the end of this presentation regarding SUMP in unity. If you would like to keep SUMP in unity, according to Bhagwan Swaminarayan's perspective, there's three major factors that are needed. Number one is perceiving divinity and taking another's fault or blame upon oneself. Second one is tolerating others, and third one is tolerating the nature of others and forgiving others. If one can implement this, then according to Bhagwan Swaminarayan's views, one can keep SUMP not only in religious environment but everywhere. Saying this, my humble Jai Swaminarayan.